My next guest is an undefeated two-time amateur champion, and on September 2nd at CFFC 124, he's going to be making his professional MMA debut when he takes on Craig Willingham. My friend Nick Caracappa joins me tonight. Nick, welcome. You're a frequent flyer here. I always love interviewing you. It's always a great time to see your face, my friend.
Thank you. You too.
And I
You're the
have to
man.
tell you, I saw you last at the CFFC fight that Luke and Eric were at, and you're looking even trimmer from when I last saw you. You look good.
Thank you. Yeah, the work hasn't stopped. The work definitely hasn't stopped.
Dante's right now. Nez's fight is getting ready for a fight. Galante, I think he fights the night before you.
Yeah, the
So
night before me.
three of you guys, by my count anyway, are all getting ready at the same time. What's your gym like right now with all three of you guys in camp?
Oh, it's crazy. And we got my other teammate Brandon Smith. He's fighting for Flex this weekend coming up, and then he's also fighting the same night as me
Oh
at
wow.
CFFC. Yeah, he's got two fights lined up right now.
With you and Galante, like you guys are both roughly the same size and you guys are teammates and you're both fighting at the same time. Like, what is that like having him? I assume him and Eric are your like main partners.
Yeah, yeah. Me and Galante, we started doing a lot this camp together, working a lot because we never fought the same time before. We've always said we wanted to, and now we finally get to. So like, I'll do my rounds, and then he'll do his rounds after. I'll usually go in for his like fourth and fifth round, and then I'll start my three after that. So I get 5 rounds in, and we make it work every time. And it's good like going to war with your boys, honestly.
What does Nick look like right now, and kind of where's his headspace at? If you had to guess.
Honestly, Nick's one of, if not the best, one of the best fighters I know. Like from his jiu-jitsu to his striking, like he's going to be a problem in the UFC one day. And look what he did to Phil Rowe.
Mm-hmm.
Beat Phil Rowe on the Fury grappling. Like Nick's an animal, and I honestly think if they ran that fight back, Nick would win. Like mostly, yeah. Nick's a beast, and he's doing amazing right now. He's ready to fucking rock. He's ready to go. Spar him, like like he's giving me the best rounds I've gotten.
Before we move on to you specifically, I wanted to talk about Matt and Phil. Matt got an impressive knockout victory this past winter, and then your brother's a free agent. Like, what's the likelihood of like the three of you guys fighting on a CFFC card one day?
I mean, that would be awesome. That's my dream. It's hard to say. I don't live with them anymore, but when I see them at the gym, I mean, we would sell that place out. That would be crazy if all three of us were on one card. But the likelihood of that is honestly, if CFFC offered us all fights at the same time, I'm sure we would do it. Definitely.
I mean, why not run it?
I
Make
don't think they've ever did three brothers on a card. But I don't think there's really that many of three brothers, honestly, that fight the way we do. I can't name another set of three brothers.
I can't put it on one of those AC shows.
Yeah, definitely. 100% the Hard Rock. That'd be crazy.
April 22nd, you fought a tough guy. His name was Kyle Troyan, and I'd be remiss to not talk about this one a little bit. There was a build-up to this fight. I think that's safe to say. Words were exchanged, and when there's a build-up and when people are talking shit and words are exchanged or whatever, and like right, and then on weigh-ins it's like, okay, let's get ready because let's see what fucking happens. The guy that you showed yourself to be like was very, very different than like what I expected, because you're like that kid that's like, okay, like you piss this kid off, like bad things are going to happen, he's going to let you know. And then you walked out there and you were like really calm, like you looked
Mhm.
completely composed, and I was just like, oh wow, like I'm like really surprised here. And I kind of wanted you to like talk me through this because it seemed like everything that I expected from you didn't show any of that. And I mean that in like the most complimentary way I possibly can. Like you showed a lot of maturity for this one. And I just wanted to ask you, like, how testing was that leading up to it? Because there were some not so nice things that were said back and
Oh
forth.
yeah, definitely. Honestly, you're not the only one that said that. Dante said that. A lot of people I know have told me that they expected me to act a totally different way, and I kind of surprised myself in a way too, honestly, because he was all the way in Long Island talking that shit, and that was the first time someone's done that in my career, like with fighting, and I knew we were gonna fight. Like I knew there once we signed the contract, that was it. Like we were fighting no matter what. So everything he said, I just used it as literally motivation. Like he made me a 10 times better fighter. I did everything right that camp, and like he made me a better fighter. So I'll give it to him. He made me work for that, and I felt myself like leveling every day in that camp. But as far as the shit talking, it pissed me off. Definitely, it definitely made me want to like work out more.
Mhm.
But I'm not really one to run my mouth unless I'm gonna do something about it. So I just waited till we got in the cage. Even at weigh-ins, he was chirping his mouth, and I didn't say anything. I just told him to shush.
Mhm. There was one really interesting moment about this fight. Like you guys are getting ready to fight, and then the announcer goes in, and he's just like, "Okay, if you're on Caracappa's like side, like you guys need to get the fuck over here." Like they're trying to stop a brawl from going down. Like I know exactly what's going on. I saw that, and you're obviously in the cage while all this is going on. It's the main event, it's the last fight of the night, and it's probably like close to 2 in the morning. Like it was a long night of fights, and I guess that's a topic for another day. But in any event, like you could feel that atmosphere. I'm watching this through the computer screen, and I'm like, oh man, like I can like feel the atmosphere here. Like you
Mhm.
could like
That's
sense
when I was talking shit.
you.
When I remember it like distinctly, like when the announcer was like saying that shit, I turned around, I looked at him, I said, "All that shit you said," I was like, "It ends now," and he was shook. He didn't say one word.
Feel all that tension in the air, and the bell rings, and you dab this kid up. You dabbed him up, and like, were you like, what compelled you to do that? Was it like, I'm curious because like I saw you I saw you say something to him. I was really surprised that you touch gloves with him though.
Honestly, I think I just did it to fuck with his head, really, honestly. Because if I touch gloves with you, I'm still gonna punch you in the face, and if I don't touch the gloves with you, I'm gonna punch you in the face. It's not really, I don't really care about respect before the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really don't respect any of my opponents until after the fight. Before that, it's like I'm viewing you as like a guy who's trying to kill me, honestly.
When I look at Kyle Troyan and I see the type of fighter that he is, looking at it objectively, like he's fucking tough. That kid is fucking tough. He's a good wrestler. I think he's a very good grappler. I think he's very talented. You might not like
He
him,
is.
but I'm
No, he
looking
is. No,
at
we're cool now. Me and him are cool now. I'll root for him in his upcoming fights. I saw he fought recently for Flex. I was rooting for him. I wished him luck.
that's great to hear. I look at Kyle. I think he's a very talented mixed.
Yeah, he is. He's a tough kid. He's really. I hit him with some hard shots, and he still came forward.
And that's exactly what I was going to ask you. Like he was still coming forward, and you're finding a lot of success with the striking. Were you surprised at his ability to take some of those shots? Because I've seen you hit people before, and they go down. Like these
Hmm.
kids get slept, and he
Yeah.
he kept coming.
Honestly, like, no, not really. I didn't even like lose focus when I was in there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about getting a knockout. I just thought about winning every like exchange. I was just thinking about winning every exchange, how like hitting first and then getting out of the pocket. I wasn't even really looking for the knockout.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I rewatched the fight, there were so many times I really could have finished him in the fight on the feet when I didn't see it when I was fighting him. I didn't really tell like his legs were wobbling walking towards me. I just was just extremely too focused, I feel like.
You get the win. You get another belt. You let the dust settle. You probably have a couple beers, have a good time for a few days, and then you go back to the gym. At what point do you guys make the decision? Do you and Dante make the decision that, you know what, like we've accomplished all that we wanted to accomplish in the amateur ranks? We're ready to move up. At what point do you have that conversation with Dante?
I feel like me and him always knew I was ready. I felt like I was ready, honestly, like 2 years ago. And then a lot of shit happened and prolonged it. And now, after my last fight, we both said, like, this is going to be my last amateur fight and I'm going to go pro. And then we were looking for a pro fight the entire summer. Since my last fight, I was trying to get on a CFFC card. I was not fighting anywhere else besides CFFC. I feel like I feel like I've been a professional fighter. Nothing's really changed this camp. I've been training like a pro since I got into it. The only thing I'm really changing is adding sprints into my practice every day. I make sure I'm doing sprints when I'm running and stuff. Uh, that's really it, though.
Training as an amateur versus training as a professional, does your training like change at all a little bit? Because now all of a sudden we go from a 9 minute potential fight to a 15 minute fight, and now you can elbow people in the face, you can leg lock people. Like, I was just curious from a training standpoint, do you train a little bit differently now, knowing that you're going to be fighting under a pro rule set?
Yes, 100%. I can't wait to showcase some shit I've been working on, honestly. I feel like I'm a much dangerous fighter now. I haven't even shown anyone what I'm capable of anywhere in my fights. I fought one style my whole way as an amateur, and I forced myself to fight like that because I came from a huge heavy wrestling background, and I forced myself to stand and trade punches with these guys. Every amateur fight, I put on an entertaining fight on my feet. And I really believe in my chin and my hands against anyone. Now that I have these pro rules, there's a lot of things I can do that I was never able to do as a wrestler before. And I feel like I'm a dangerous fighter now. Anywhere the fight goes, I'm looking for a cut, like to make this kid bleed. Honestly,
Your opponent, his name is Craig Willingham. This is a guy that's had a lot of success. He was an undefeated amateur fighter. He makes his pro debut not that long ago, and he comes up short. It's by split decision. So depending on how you look on that fight on any other day, he could be a 1-0 pro fighter right now. I think I look at this guy. I think he's a dangerous opponent for you. I think he's highly skilled. What do you see when you look at his film?
I see another savage getting ready for a war. That's what I see. I see a kid who can knock people out, and I feel like this is the fight I need to get where I want to get to where I want to be in my career. This is where I exactly where I need to be. Before my amateur debut, I checked the Tapology rankings. I saw Craig Willingham was the number one in the Northeast, and I said I'm going to fight this kid one day. I watched him fight before, and I manifested this entire moment. And September 2nd, I honestly believe I'm gonna break him. I really do think he's a great fighter, but I'm more than great, and I'm gonna show him who I am that night.
Well, I'm not going to ask you any questions about where you think you have the edge, but I will ask you this. You've been fighting for many years now, an undefeated amateur fighter. You have two title belts. You've gone through a lot of adversity outside the cage too that a lot of people don't know about. So I wanted to ask you, like, this is a moment that you have been like envisioning and preparing for. It's been many years in the making. What is it going to feel?
11 years it's been. 11 years. That's why I honestly feel no man can beat me in the cage when that door locks.
When that when the fight is over and you check on like Tapology a couple days later and you see your name and then you see like your record and it says like you're a professional fighter and you're 1-0, like is that the point when it's really gonna hit you like, oh shit, like we just did that? Because there are probably a lot of people that never thought you'd make it this far.
No, no. I remember telling my football coach when I was in sixth grade I was gonna be a professional fighter, and he laughed in my face. Um, Nah, this is like honestly, this is everything. This is my life. There's really like I hear people say this all the time. Oh, I put my life. This is honestly everything I've thought about since I was 12 years old. I really never. There has never been another job or anything hobby that interested me or gained my attention. I've always wanted to be a professional fighter, whether it was in UFC or another big promotion. I always envisioned myself like really winning a UFC belt, honestly. I believe it in my heart I'll be the UFC champion by 25 years old. I really do.
Do you think back and like as you're getting like when you're running these miles and when you're like hitting the mitts and like as September 2nd gets closer and closer and closer, like does that like dawn on you, right? Where it's like, oh shit, like we're getting ready to like we're getting ready to fucking do this. And does this camp
Yeah,
feel different compared to your
yeah,
other camps?
yeah. This feels like my first amateur fight, my very first fight all over again. That's what it feels like. I'm getting. It feels like I've never fought before.
That's what.
Camp. That's what camp feels like. You know, camp's not supposed to be a great. Oh, I did amazing this camp. Camp's great. You know, I'm fucking up. I'm learning, and this is exactly what I need. I every day I go into practice, I'm learning something new. I'm gaining something. I feel like a new student to the game. I'm really opening my mind to everything, no matter where it is. I'm gaining knowledge from it.
Well,
I'm
Nick,
working with new people too. I'm working with Carl Robertson with my striking. Robertson, I really do feel like right now I'm the deadliest version of myself.
ladies and gentlemen, that fight will happen at September 2nd. And Nick, it's a high profile card. You're going to be making your professional debut on a double header, and you're going to be like fighting on UFC Fight Pass for your professional debut. I mean, that's something
Main
special.
card,
That's something
main
special.
card. Yeah, no, I fucking wake up every day and I look at myself in the mirror and I say I'm gonna fucking be someone. Every morning I remind myself, and this is what I mean. I manifested this fight. Everything happens for a reason. And September 2nd, I'm fighting Craig Willingham for a reason, and I manifested this. I'm eating this moment up. Like I really am. I'm fucking waking up early. I'm running. I'm going to runs at 12 o'clock at night. I'm fucking working hard for this. This is the proof of hard work. It's all it is hard work.
Well, I've known you, Nick, for quite an ample amount of time, and you definitely seem dialed in. You definitely seem like you're ready to go. And I want to give you the mic, man. Like, if there's anything you want to say to any of your people out there, if there's anyone that you want to talk about before I let you go, let's do it.
No, just shout out to my two older brothers for guiding me my whole life, getting me to this point of where I am. Honestly, without them, I don't know what I would be. I don't even know if I would be a fighter. They bred me for this, my two older brothers, and my parents for always believing in me, and everyone at Dante Rivera's gym who's got my back. That's the fucking gym I rep till I die. So I'm bringing that gym to the top with me.
Nick, I appreciate your time this evening, and I look forward to having you back very soon, my friend.
Thank you. After I win this fight, after I finish this KO, I'll get back on here again.
Yes, sir.